Good morning, everyone. We are Francesca, Gelpi, and Amalia, and we are student of KU Leuven. We are from the Master of Biomedical Engineer. We still have to do one here. And during the last year, during the design project, we pick up a project from the Syria board that Christian has already described. So our project is from the cooperation between KU Leuven and Rosemary. Rosemary is a rehabilitation center in Kerbergen, Belgium. It's a no-profit organization which main aim is to guarantee assistance and educational services to people with severe disability. They have 3 centers in Belgium, and we mainly work with one of it, which is a daily but also a night center, in which they provide different activities such as like art labs, but also they interact with the users in their daily activities. The center doesn't have enough caregivers for take care of every user, so the ratio between caregivers and user it's not 1-to-1. That's why the orthopedagogue of the center asked us to develop a device that could entertain the users without the needs of a supervisor. The users, they have not just mental disability and physical disabilities, but also emotional disabilities. They suffer of cerebral palsy and Rett syndrome. And as you can see, both of these 2 disabilities, they have effect on the physical aspect of these people, but they also have really emotional effects. People with cerebral palsy, they feel isolated due to the really disability in the communication skill, but they still want to create a connection, interaction with other people, but they don't have the possibility to do that. So usually they hurt people, they push people, they try to use their hands to have an interaction with the other users. On the other side, Rett syndrome patients have autistic-like behaviors. They don't like to interact with others. So the main point of our device will be to stimulate them to use the device and to interact with a game. In literature, there are a lot of previous studies, such as table labs or also interactive wall of lights. In all these games, the user is supposed to just touch and do nothing else, while the orthopedagogue asks us to have a response. It has to be an action-reaction device that can really help the user to feel that if someone is not playing with him, but there is a reaction to his way of playing. Also, the main problem with all these devices is that they are too expensive. We were working with a non-profit organization. The budget was, of course, low, so we couldn't think to use tablets or bowling help because it will be easily broken, it's too weak for them, and it's too expensive for the company. The requirements for our device are stored on the specification of the patient. Our activity center is specifically designed for them. So we will present you these 3 users. KMPs suffer of cerebral palsy, so as I said before, they have physical disabilities. They are on a wheelchair, they can just walk with the help of caregivers, and they don't have accurate motor ability. K particularly like to take the initiative, that's why he can often involuntarily hit people. On the other side, P is less strong than K, but he likes to play with lights. Both of these 2 characteristics can be really annoying for the other users in the center. That's why there is a need of something that can just entertain them during the free time. G, on the other side, has a Rett syndrome, so it doesn't interact a lot with the others, but so it really needs to be stimulated On the same time, SP, he really likes play with lights, he likes the music and movie colors. Due to all of these things, we defined the specification for our game, which has to be really resistant. So we use really strong material that has to be strong enough to resist to the force of our user. And the other side has to be safe. Since there is no supervision during the game, the material part, but also the electronic part, has to be safe enough for them to be used. The size was chosen by the technician of the center because it was supposed to be put in a specific place in the center, and that's of course to be accessible for the wheelchair. The main point of our game is to entertain these people, so we want them to play with it. That's why we decided to have an eye-catching design, really colorful, and with a lot of accent in order to make them want to play. We didn't want to make them bored of the game, so the point of our device is that they can play for years with this. That's why the game is upgradable and adaptable to future change. As I said before, we want it to be low cost, and also we decided to use even really cheap material, maybe that were already in the center. And in order to be low cost, the center decided that the device was supposed to be built by the technician of Rosemary, so it has to be really easy to be built by any technician in every kind of center, rehabilitation center in the world.
This is the design we came up with. The idea is that it has 9 modules, as you can see. Each module is based on that box at the right. And the idea is that 8 of them are games, and in the upper central one, there's all the electronics, which are based on Raspberry Pi. So it's Raspberry Pi, I don't know if you all know, it is like a small computer, so it allows us to program it, but also it can have many changes, so we implemented videos on it, sounds. The idea, what we tried is whichever video and sound, but they are gonna record the voices of their family, the voices of their caregivers, videos of themselves, things that they would like. And also the idea of using this software is that it's easy to change from them, from the technician. So we give specific instructions for them to understand the code and see what they have to change. So it's just like change this file from this folder and things like that. So they really can adapt it to even to other users. So this is more the beautiful design, and it consists on 3 mechanical modules, so they are more based on movements and their accuracy with their upper limbs. But also there are some electronics like the 2 uppers which consist on buttons, which is what they like, and the other ones, they consist on flashing lights. They also have the fan to enjoy some wind, the sounds and the videos. And the location of the games was also thought considering the users. So Kay, for example, he tends to be bended in the wheelchair, so he accessed the lowest ones, and those are the ones inspired on his preferences, and the other ones are more reachable for the rest of them. So the idea is that the box was shown in the first device, the electronics will be at the back, and the front panel can be exchanged if in months or hopefully years they get tired of it, so they can even adapt it for other users. So basically our main aims and the difference with our device we consider it's the modularity and the cost. The modularity was very useful, as I said, for changing, for allowed changes in intra-user and inter-user. So they can upgrade it for them to not be bored, as Francesca was saying. Also, the cost was very important, and you see that, well, we reached the 200 euros, but it was easy to not reach it because mainly the most expensive thing is the Raspberry Pi, but we bought it in a physical shop, but if you find deals on internet and everything, it can be cheaper, so it could be even cheaper than that. Okay. And Then this was the biggest challenge for us, I guess, because this idea, well, it was not ours. The orthopedagogue clearly explained his wish, what he needed. So we just had to more or less translate that to a physical device. So this is what we did. And the process, they clearly present their needs. Then we came up with an idea, we had constant feedback with them, so it could always be adapted to what they wanted. Of course, we need the more academic and serious part that is testing it, but we didn't build it yet because it's going to be built by the technician of the center. But as we said, he's the only one, and he had other things to do during the summer, so it's already in construction. They have the boxes, but they have to keep building it. So the idea is that the implementation in their daily life will be like first gradual, motivated by one of the caregivers. So it's like, now we are going to play this, and they are going to learn how to use it, but little by little they should be motivated enough to play alone. And also, since they really have to make a relation between the buttons and the reactions they will have when it's turned off, when it's gonna be switched to a switched extension. If this is turned off, it shouldn't work. So, in order for them to not be confused, we are gonna cover it with a core time, so they know that it's not time to play and it's not gonna work then. So, as a conclusion, we really think we came up because of their feedback, not because of us, but we came to a low-cost user-specific activity center, which main goal is that it's modular and it can be upgradable easily. It's currently in construction, and it will be evaluating, and from that they themselves can perform changes, but also we promise that we will be in contact, and we will be. And from the cooperation, that was the most interesting part, since, as Christine explained, we really liked it because the other options of projects were more not that is bad, but they were more medical, more for companies, and our classmates, they never see the end users, and that was very challenging and very nice from us. Also, of course, well, not of course, but we don't pick that, so we couldn't communicate with them. But we were there. We even ate with them and everything. So we really spent time with them, and we could understand their needs. So that was very fulfilling for us. And so, if you have any questions, thank you for your attention.